going on YouTube? My name is Pedro and welcome back to the channel where we never turn off the console. This is without any question the best Spider-Man game that I ever played. And it is the closest that you can get for being Spider-Man yourself. And who hasn't dreamed of being Spider-Man at least once? Even today I wouldn't mind shoot some webs and swing myself all around. Well my friends, this is it. This is the game that will fulfill all your Spidey needs. This game is effing amazing and it has shoot right up to the top of my list of favorite superhero games. I freaking love it. But let's get into more detail while I present to you my honest review of Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4. Of course I had high expectations for this game. Everybody and their mamas have been praising it constantly, and now that I have finished it, I have to say that all the hype is totally justified. This game not only transpires the true essence of being Spider-Man, but it also looks gorgeous. The gameplay is really fun and fluid, the soundtrack and sound effects are awesome, and the story is just a delight. So let us start with the graphics. And there is not that much to say other than fantastic. Such a beautiful game, everything is extremely detailed, with a great representation of Manhattan, with all the skyscrapers at your disposal for you to swing your way through the city. Everything is full of life with tons and tons of people on the streets, traffic all around, and crime. A lot of crime for you to eradicate, and it is your job as Spider-Man to clear the streets from every bum and thug that disturbs the peace of the civilians. The light effects are incredible, it is so cool, the sun coming through the skyscrapers while you swing all the way to your destination, and even at night, all the lights that exist gives you that feeling of the city that never sleeps. All the cutscenes are amazing, worthy of a movie-level status, and for that there is an outstanding contribution of the motion capture and voice acting present in this game. The voice acting feels genuine and in the right place. It even goes to the extreme of Peter's lines being recorded with two different tones. One from when you are just chilling in a certain place, and another one when you are swinging through the city or in the middle of combat. The music is epic and makes you feel like a true superhero on his quest for justice against the bad guys. I simply love it. Every time you start swinging, the music kicks in to give you that feeling of empowerment. And the sound effects is another point that is tuned to perfection. From the honking of the cars all around the city, to the people on the streets that will compliment you if they like you, or insult you if they don't. Everything gives life to the world. Now let's discuss the gameplay, and in my opinion this is the most important part of a game of this type, and without a doubt that Insomniac nailed it. The two most important things on a Spider-Man game has to be the swinging mechanic and the combat. And you can put two check marks on the front of these 2 points because they are awesome in this game. Swinging throughout Manhattan is extremely satisfying, with the open world approach helping a lot with the experience, and with these two factors together you are in the presence of a really liberator feeling. You can do whatever you want at any time you want, and there is a lot to do in the game besides going through the story. You have secondary missions and a lot of side tasks to do, like fighting crime throughout all Manhattan districts, searching for backpacks left by Peter during his high school years, helping Harry Osborn with Oscorp researches, going through waves and waves of enemies on their bases and disrupt them, taking photos of landmarks, and even try to catch pigeons for a friend. There is a lot to do in this game, and I didn't find anything particularly boring. There are some things that could be a little bit more exciting, for example trying to take pictures of a cat doll to unveil Catwoman's plans, but even those were okay and I didn't mind doing them. The combat is great, Spider-Man's movements are really fluid, precise and flashy, and it is far from being a smashing buttons fest. You actually need a strategy to approach the enemies, otherwise you are going to get stumped. You have to be aware of your spider sense to dodge enemies' attacks, and different enemies have different strengths and weaknesses. For example, some are so big that you cannot throw them into the air, so you need to tie them up with your webs before you attack, or you can throw objects at them. During battle, you can also use finishing moves or one-hit KOs, whatever you wanna call it. that can be performed once you have your focus meter full. And to fill it, you need to do combo attacks without getting hit. But this focus bar has another functionality besides finishing moves. You can use it to heal yourself, and this factor creates a good amount of strategy when in the middle of combat. If you use it to defeat an enemy, then you will not have it ready to heal yourself right away. You will need to fill your focus bar once again, and that can leave you vulnerable to enemy attacks. And although one of the negative aspects is the lack of different enemies, yes, they have different models, but they pretty much have the same set of moves and attacks, Marvel Spider-Man maintains the experience fresh because of the excellent skill tree system. It is simple, it is efficient, and with so many new moves, gadgets and suits, that you will never feel that it is being repetitive. And let's take a minute to talk about all those neat gadgets, flashy moves and over-the-top new suits. They are awesome! There is such a variety of upgrades and new skills to unlock that you will always have something new to try on. Maybe it is a new trap to stick your enemies to the walls, or maybe it is a new swaggy move that you can pull off in battle, or just a new suit for you to look hella cool while swinging throughout the city. And my favorite part is the suits. They all look phenomenal, and you have a lot of choices once you unlock all of them. The majority you will unlock by leveling up, but for some of them you will need to complete side tasks like getting all the backpacks or finding all the cats, and even one after you complete everything on the game that is specially designed for the ladies. From time to time you are asked to complete one of two minigames. The first one where you need to match patterns to discover an element, and the second one being a disconnected electrical circuit that you need to rearrange using available pieces. And although I thought that they cut the pace of the game, they are enjoyable, cool puzzles to complete that won't affect your experience. But there were some particular parts that I found just a little bit boring. And that is when you get to the segments where you control either Mary Jane or Miles. I think it is good that we incorporate other characters into the gameplay just because it makes you care more about Mary Jane and Miles. And in the case of Miles, it's an incredible introduction of the character to the masses, especially because it sets up perfectly the sequel that is coming out for the PS5. But the problem is that these parts are centralized on stealth missions that are way less exciting than the parts you play as Spider-Man. But they are relatively short segments and it won't ruin your game time. Wait! Time for a spoiler alert. If you haven't played this game but you have the intentions to do it, and you don't want the story to be spoiled to you, now is a great time for you to go check out another one of my videos. So, yeah, are you staying? Let's get into it. This is a completely separate story from any other inside the Marvel's universe. It is fresh material. Right at the beginning there is a skip in introductions, and we don't need them. You are Spider-Man and you fight crime, and boom! There you are, right in the middle of action with the tutorial for the web swinging mechanic. I loved it, right off the gate in Spider-Man's shoes in a mission to capture Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, shooting webs everywhere, defeating a ton of thugs in the process, and culminating with Fisk behind bars. Such an amazing way to pump you up for everything that will come next. So this narrative puts Peter Parker in a time period where he was already graduated from college, and now divides his time between helping his Aunt May in a homeless shelter and working in a lab as a research assistant for Dr. Otto Octavius, while managing to control crime on the streets. But although Fisk is out of the picture, the city of New York is far from being safe because of the new threat that appears. A group of men with strange masks called the Inner Demons, that are looking for an Oscorp secret project called the Devil's Breath. This project is an unfinished medical treatment for genetic disorders, that at its present state could be used as a weapon to spread the disease. Later in the story, we finally meet the face behind the demons, and it is none other than Martin Lee, known as Mr. Negative. He is the founder of Fist, the homeless shelter where Aunt May works. Lee has a personal vendetta against the mayor Norman Osborn, that used the Devil's Breath on him, and it created a reaction that culminated in a tragic explosion that would kill poor 7-year-old Lee's parents. Martin Lee never forgot what happened that day, and after all these years, this was the perfect opportunity to give segment to his vicious plan of vengeance. So, for a big chunk of the game, you are trying to figure out and stop Martin Lee's advances until the point that you finally contain him, but if you think that the madness ends here, you couldn't be further from the truth. During all this time that you were fighting against the inner demons and Mr. Negative, another threat was rising while Dr. Otto Octavius was creating and perfecting his new invention in the field of advanced prosthetic limb technology that Peter Parker himself helped create. Otto had himself a neurological disorder that would incapacitate his motor capabilities, but although the creation worked, a malfunction on the neural implants affected Otto's mind, transforming him in a vicious and full of revenge man. Those feelings of hatred were once again directed to the mayor Norman Osborn for everything that he made Otto go through, for making him leave the company that the two together founded, Oscorp, to the funding for his research that Norman shut down, abusing his power as mayor. Already as Dr. Octopus, he forms the Sinister Six, composed by some of the most feared Spider-Man's enemies, and starts his vicious attack to destroy Norman Osborn. And this part, oh baby, it is so action-packed, with you as Spider-Man having the mission to neutralize all the chaos going all around the city, going from one boss fight to the next one until you are able to defeat them all. After you are finished with Dr. Octopus and you have found the antidote with Mary Jane's help, you are slapped in the face with an extremely emotional situation. With the antidote in his hands, Peter sees his Aunt May die in front of his eyes, because if he uses it on her, there wouldn't be a possibility to reproduce the antidote for all the other infected. This is an extremely harsh ending after everything that you went through, but one that fits so well in the story that is the perfect emotional touch, exactly in the right amount that this game needed. As you might have noticed, I love the story of this game. It is one of the best, if not the best story of superheroes video game, at least from all the games that I have already played. But no one can deny that it is at the top. Lots of action, great storytelling, amazing gameplay, the best swing mechanic I ever experienced, and there is still a ton of things that happen in this game that I didn't mention that you are in for a treat. Especially if you are willing to pay a little bit extra for the DLC. Marvel's Spider-Man is a must-own game on the PS4. And with all things considered, and after a spectacular time spent with this game, I give to Marvel's Spider-Man a very solid rating of 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you stayed until the end of this video and you enjoyed what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload that I do to YouTube, drop a like on the video and comment down below your thoughts about this game. I have to say that after I finish this game, I'm super excited for the sequel that is coming out for PS5, and you can expect a review on that game once it comes out. I love you all, and I will see you on the next one.